Put up your winner's V, your victory pose. Wherever you are, don your crown. Please put your 3 crowns in the comments, or your crown, male, female emoji head in the comments. And greet me in Imago Day, in the image and likeness of God. I hope you all have had an amazingly great day in Imago Day. That Latin phrase means in the image and likeness of God. And it basically describes Genesis chapter 1, verses 26 and 27. We're made in God's likeness and his image. And that's who we are. We're gods in the earth. Lowercase G-O-D-S, gods in the earth. My name is Victoria I. Phoenix, and I want to welcome you to this Tuesday night live edition. And tonight is going to be very, 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 very powerful insight that I'm releasing. I know it's time. Some years ago, God gave me some insight about the city that's a big city. Most people know the city of Atlanta. The Olympics have been there. You have a lot of music and movie filmmaking that goes on there, but most people know about it. That's where I went to school. That's where I went to undergraduate. Got my undergraduate degree from Spelman College, historic HBCU. And it's about 2.5 hours northeast of where my hometown, where I'm from, where I was born and raised, where I moved back to after I got my undergraduate degree in economics from Spelman College. And so some years ago, God gave me probably about 10 or 15% of what I'm going to be talking about tonight, of the revelation of some of the strongholds that's in this big city of Atlanta. And most recently, he let me know that it's in most big cities. It's actually a big city stronghold. And like I said, a lot of people who are from my hometown, which is Albany, Georgia. If you don't know where I'm from Albany, Georgia. Small town or small city southwest of Atlanta, Georgia. Most people know Atlanta, Georgia. And most of you all know that many times when somebody's from a small town, they always give the location in relation to a larger city. They'll say, well, it's near Baton Rouge, or it's near Miami, or it's near, I always say I'm between Atlanta and Tallahassee. Most people know Tallahassee, which is the capital of Florida, and Atlanta, which is the capital of Georgia. And Atlanta is known for a lot of like the AU Center, the HBCU, the largest conglomerate of higher education institutions for African Americans in the world. That's Morehouse, Spelman, Clark, Atlanta University, Morris Brown, and the Morehouse School of Medicine, and the ITC, the seminary there. But we're known for that in Atlanta. Well, Atlanta's known for that. Atlanta's known for a lot of movies. They're saying it's the Hollywood of the South now in the last 20, maybe 25 years, the music industry there. So God started showing me something, though, about Atlanta. Like I said, I went to undergraduate school. I got my degree from Spelman College. Yay, go Jaguars, right? At Spelman, and but if I wanted to come straight back home. I'll get into this more tonight, but I tell people, most people, when I introduce myself, if they've been around me for a while, they're like, you're from here? If they see me in Albany, are you from Albany? I never would have thought that or whatever, but I tell people when I'm traveling the world or whatever, I tell people I love to visit large cities. I love big cities. I love Miami. I love Paris. I love Tokyo. I love to visit large cities, but I like to live in a small town. And we'll get more into that later. That's how I know it. Well, God showed me recently how that's spiritual as well. But a few years ago, God gave me probably about, like I said, 10 or 15% of the revelation I'm sharing with you tonight. The rest of it, he gave to me in the past week or so, last couple of weeks. And I know it's an in-season, in-time word for right now, because I was when all this revelation was coming to me most recently, when I made a little trip to Atlanta. I travel a lot to Atlanta, through Atlanta to Atlanta, got friends, family there. Of course, the restaurant nightlife. I'm not a clubber, but the restaurant day in nightlife there is great. Shopping is great there. Like I said, I got friends, family, that kind of thing. But most recently, I had to go there because, I didn't have to, but my children are in 2 different schools. And so they had 2 different spring breaks. I thought they had the same spring break, so it was my error. And I told my husband to take off from work on a particular week. And I thought it was both of the kids' spring break, but it was only one. And it was actually the one that could have missed the most days of school. And so So what happened was we ended up taking a little staycation because, like I said, Atlanta's not really a vacation for us because we go there all the time. It's right up the street, about 2.5 hours, 178 miles north of us. But we ended up going at the last minute because we wanted to go somewhere else. But my daughter had just had her spring break, and then my son's spring break, which is the week that my husband took off. Hey, Evelyn, put your 3 crowns in the comments. Great to see you. Greet me in Imago Day. But long story short, we ended up going to, it was an adjustment, a trip a modified trip for us to go to Atlanta. And we said, well, I said, there's a lot of things they can go and see. My kids are 4 and 6, they can go and see. Even though we come here a lot, they've never been to the World of Coca-Cola. They've never been to the aquarium. So we can do that. Of course, the food, the food culture is amazing in Atlanta, like in most major cities. And so we ended up going there. And but while I was there, God gave me some great revelation on the connection between Albany, Georgia, which is a small city where I'm from, and the big city of Atlanta, Georgia. Like I said, he had started kind of unfolding these strongholds in Atlanta to me years ago. But like I said, what I'm sharing with you tonight, only about 10 or 15%, probably 10% of that was given to me in past years. In the last couple of weeks, about 2 weeks ago, when we visited Atlanta on a short staycation for my kids' spring break, that God revealed this to me, and I know it's time. And I'm like, God, is this a word for now? Should I release this? Is it for who is, I know it's for the masses because it's not just for me. This is going to help a lot of people. But then Prophetess Tiffany Montgomery sent out an email to some of the people on her email list. When I was thinking about this more a couple of days after I got back from Atlanta, and she was talking about how certain cities are known for certain strongholds, certain things. And then later on, my bishop, the message he preached this past Sunday on Easter Sunday, part of his message, he was talking about, certain levels of demons in certain size cities and that kind of thing. So God gave me the confirmation. And like I said, he unraveled a whole lot of revelation that's going to help a lot of people. I'm excited about teaching this tonight. I want y'all to share it because it's going to help a lot of people. It's going to help. This is the purpose of the fivefold ministry, of everybody operating in their proper gifting in the body of Christ. If you're a member of the fivefold, an apostle, a prophet, an evangelist, a pastor, a teacher, make sure that you know your calling and you're operating in that, because teachers, I'm a teacher, I'm an evangelist, I'm a prophetess. I have 3 of those anointings, but God shows things to, even when I taught in the secular world, when I taught high school economics. Hey, McJerry, put your 3 crowns in the comments. Great to see you. Even when I taught in the high school or in a secular view of teaching, teachers know things that the students don't know, and you're supposed to reveal that to them. So God shows different people things in the body of Christ, because you might have had this inkling, or you might have had this funny feeling, or you might have never known about this stuff I'm going to tell you tonight. But I promise you, it's going to save some people's lives. It may be people direct in your family, like your immediate family, in your household, your son, your daughter, your granddaughter, your niece, your nephew, somebody distant, a coworker. Somebody's life is going to be saved. It's going to be somebody's going to be delivered and helped from this, because God showed it to me for a reason, to share it with you all. Okay, that's the beauty of being in the fivefold ministry, knowing who you are, being sensitive to Holy Spirit, and sharing it. So here we go. And it's not just the city of Atlanta, it's all big cities, okay? This is what God showed me. Most big cities, they shine at night. It's all about the nightlife, right? And nightlife meaning the clubbing and people hanging out in the streets and that kind of stuff. I love to visit big cities. I love cities that don't sleep. I love, walking cities. You can walk around, you see all the lights. But God showed me that that's part of that's part of the stronghold there, because, the enemy works in darkness. It's all throughout the Bible. The enemy works in darkness. The enemy is darkness. He does his best work in the dark. In the dark, people can get hurt. In the dark, and we're talking about just physically. Now, before we even get in spiritual, when it's dark, people have accidents. When it's dark, you can get very hurt. When it's dark, you can get robbed. When it's dark, you can get taken advantage of, and you don't know somebody's true identity. All these are characteristics that I just say, even though I was talking about it in the natural sense, these are spiritual characteristics of Satan. So this is what God was showing me this past a couple weeks ago when I was in Atlanta with my children, my family, for a small staycation. And I asked my daughter, I said, do you see the skyline? Most people want to know at night, when you're in a large city, you look at the skyline, you look at the skyscrapers, you look at the big buildings, like in Atlanta, the Coca-Cola building, how it's lit up in the red cursive writing. You look at the skyline. In most big cities, they're designed to shine at night all the time, but especially at night. So God said there's a key there, Victoria. Most big cities, including Atlanta, I'm talking specifically about Atlanta tonight, but all this stuff is applying to most other major cities. I'm talking about the connection between hey, Jabri, put your 3 crowns in the comments. Great to see you. Greet me in Imago Day. But the connection between my hometown and 178 miles north of us, which is Atlanta, Georgia. And a lot of people from Albany, the small city where I'm from, they can't wait to get to Atlanta. But God showed me that it's really a setup, a trap of the enemy. It's a trap of the enemy. He talked about the angel of light. If you look in 2 Corinthians 11 and 14, 2 Corinthians 11 and 14 says, and no marvel, meaning don't be surprised, no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. An angel of light, okay? Satan is an angel of light. He's the angel of light. He is, and don't get it twisted. When you're talking about angels, when you're praying that God for the release of angels, you're saying angels protect you, be specific. Make sure that you're talking about the holy angels of God, because Satan has angels too. Matter of fact, there are satanic angels. When Satan was kicked out of heaven, it said it took a third of the angels with him. And so there are devilish angels. Okay, and so you have to be specific when you're praying, when you're decreeing over yourself and your family, the holy angels of God, the angels that are in Psalm 91 that have charge of you, the angels. Make sure you're specific. Okay, so 2 Corinthians 11:14 says, don't be surprised, because in the verse before that, 2 Corinthians 11:13 is talking about false apostles and that kind of thing. And so verse 14, Paul says, no marvel, meaning don't be surprised, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. What's an angel of light? Angel of light means it's not really light, but it's supposed to appear as light. I've been talking to you all or speaking in the last few months as God gave me this revelation that the enemy, one of his go-to MOs or modes of operation, his tools from his tools box is to be the master of disguise, the master of deception. And what is the master of disguise? To make things appear as what they aren't, or to make things not appear as what they really are. And so when you get into big cities, I'm namely talking about the connection between Albany, Georgia, where I'm from, where I currently reside, and then Atlanta, Georgia, where I travel a lot. I went to school there, got my undergraduate degree there. It's famous for a lot of people. Most people, if you don't know Albany, Georgia, you know Atlanta, Georgia. It's a big city. It's like New York City. You know Las Vegas. You know the large cities. Okay? But Satan, who is the master of disguise, and he masquerades as an angel of light to appear as light, but he's not light. He's the angel of light to make things appear as what they are. He's the evil angel, not a godly angel of light. Okay, 2 Corinthians 11:14 tells you that. All right, so what he does is try to make things appear as what they are not, or not appear as what they are. If you put somebody in the wrong lighting, you know that? You know a lot of modeling agencies, a lot of video shoots and stuff like that. They use lighting in video shoots and stuff to make people appear more beautiful than they are, right? You see it all the time, right? So that's what Satan does. He's the master of disguise. And so this is what I found from Albany to Atlanta. A lot of people it's this superficial strategic stronghold that Satan has in Atlanta and other big cities that are connected to smaller cities. Okay, so Albany is the nearest big city, nearest big city that's closest to us in Albany, Georgia, where I'm from, where I live, is Atlanta, Georgia. Now Tallahassee is not a big city. It's a capital city, and there's some things going on there. But most people are from Georgia. If they don't know what Albany is, they'll say, "Listen, I'm this far away from Atlanta." People are like, "Oh, okay, I know Atlanta, right? Or I'm this far away from this, right?" So there's a superficial, meaning fake. All right, superficial is another word for fake, false. Okay, phony. Okay, so Satan has this whole superficial overlay. He's the angel of light to make things appear a certain way. So many people in Albany, Georgia. Matter of fact, there's so many people who have moved, who reside in there. Matter of fact, they say there's a joke that says Atlanta is just a colony of Albany. A lot of people want to move from Albany to Atlanta, and I've seen this happen as it relates to the drug culture, whether it's hard drugs or just how the enemy is being very deceptive with marijuana, whether it's religion, whether it's religion, not Christianity, or spirituality, but religion. Promiscuity, if you want to be real whorish, whether you are male, female, whatever. Vanity, people who just want these label whores. You always want to be talking about what you got on and what you drive and all this about materialism. Now, I love nice things, okay? The alternative lifestyle. You know what I'm talking about. The relationships, the sexual relationship, alternative lifestyle. I'm going to leave it there, okay? And I would say more, could say more, but of course, they're doing a lot of censoring and stuff. And I need this message to get out to as many people as possible because it's going to save some lives. and also as it relates to striving and scheming, trying to grind and to strive to get a better lifestyle and to look a certain way. So in all these areas, I know people from Albany, Georgia, who when they want to live their best life in drugs, they want to live whether they're selling drugs or using it, they want to live their best lives in religion, not living for God, but they want to take a church there or take be religious there and live in hypocrisy and do all kind of evil things. Whether it's promiscuity, you want to be whorish, you want to sleep around, vanity, just all about your hair, your nails, your clothes, that kind of thing. The alternative lifestyle, the alternative lifestyle, sexual lifestyle. When it comes to striving and scheming, when it comes to overindulging. Like I said, the food culture in Atlanta is off the hook. That's one of the reasons I visit there a lot. Most big cities are like that. I've traveled all around the world. Most big cities, the food culture is going to be great. And so Atlanta, the nearest big city to me, I travel there for that. Like I said before, I love to visit big cities, but I'm going to stay in a small town. And God showed me that's part of who you are spiritually. A lot of people who are trying to be their best devilish selves want to escape. They can't wait to get from Albany to Atlanta, or from whatever small city is closest to New York, whatever they want to get to these big cities because Satan there are strategic, superficial strongholds in big cities. And I'm talking specifically about Atlanta. What do I mean superficial? It's fake. It's phony. They want you to think that they're living a certain lifestyle. I've seen this with my own eyes, not one, not two, not 5 times. I can name right now, I'm not naming names, but I can name right now at least 20 people. And I haven't even thought hard. These names, when I was meditating on this word, these names just popped up and God said, remember that person? What about that person? What about? Now, if I actually sat down and said, let me think, I probably could come up with 50 or more. But I can tell you at least 20 people that I know for a fact right now who this list of things that I just talked about, these lifestyles that are devilish and all about getting the enemy to destroy you slowly but surely, okay, by your own lust. I can name at least 20 people that, like I said, they wanted to be dope heads and wanted to have all kind of schemes and beat people out of money so they could get high and all that kind of stuff and just live a crazy life in drugs. Left from Albany, say, I got to get to Atlanta. People who are all about strife, all about grinding and striving and scheming. So much so they want to let you know that they wear Gucci and they wear Prada and they carry this and they carry that and they'll do anything to get it. So they're striving and they're scheming. They want to get from Albany to Atlanta or to the nearest big city where it's so much opportunity for that, where it's this facade. It's superficial, strategic, satanic strongholds. Let me say it again. It's the satanic strongholds of superficial. They're superficial and strategic. Satan has made it where, like I said, I know people, and this is not just Atlanta, but I know people specifically. I've known people in New York, Atlanta, who they're from a small town and they just got to get to the big city. And in Albany, we say the city. I'm going to get ready to go to the city. They're talking about Atlanta or New York. I'm going to the big city. They're trying to get there to show you that this is where it's at. Albany is so country compared to Atlanta, when in reality it's not, because it's only 2.5 hours away. And most people in Atlanta are from Albany or from some other small town because they're looking for a name for themselves. They're looking for, and it's so superficial. Satan's like, yeah, come here, and so you can look like you're in the big city, that you're making it big. Because you're going to see a lot of celebrities there. It's called the Hollywood of the South now. Tyler Perry has studios there. There are other people have studios there. It's always been, it's been a music capital for a long time. And guess what? Music and media are some of those big strongholds that Satan uses. If you didn't know it, I'm telling you now. Music and media, music, television, that kind of stuff. If you haven't read books and magazines, if you haven't followed true men and women of God who are teaching and preaching the gospel, music and media are some of the strongholds of the devil. Some of his tools, his tactics, that people get out and they sell their soul to the devil to get into Hollywood, to get into the music industry. You've heard it. You've heard of the Illuminati and all types of stuff like that. Satan uses that because people want fame and fortune. Because when you are not seeking the characteristics of God, the Spirit of God, it's all about you. It's all about fame and fortune. So you have so many people. I know, I guess I can name 20 people right now. I'm moving to Atlanta. Ain't nothing here for me or whatever. When in reality, if you're a whore in Albany, you're going to be a bigger whore in Atlanta. If you're a dope head or a dope dealer in Albany, you're going to be a bigger one in Atlanta, and the enemy wants to get you there because this is it. just by default, even if we didn't get super spiritual, let's talk about this. You're gonna have greater strongholds or greater forces to deal with in a big city. Why? Because it's more people. Okay, if I have a classroom of 10 people and you have a classroom of 40 people, you have a greater chance, unless of course you got gifted kids or whatever. If we have a normal population of kids, we just have a general population. I have 10 kids in my class and you have 40. By natural math, you're gonna have more darkness in the opportunity for more darkness in your class because it's more people. So Satan wants to lure you to. It's so many people that they feel like if they go to Atlanta and make it in Atlanta, and it's so much so superficial. A lot of times they're not making it in Atlanta. This is the point I was getting to. They're struggling, have no food in the refrigerator, living in a rat and roach infested apartment or whatever, sleeping here, there, everywhere. But when they come back home to a small town, they got on Gucci or they driving a Mercedes, just so it makes them feel like they're making it in the big city. I've seen this happen. They're in Atlanta, they're in New York, selling their bodies for dope, for clothes, for all this kind of stuff. They're scheming, they're doing all types of things because in the big city, there's more opportunity for it because you got people from all over. Guess what? Big cities have strategic strongholds. I'm gonna tell you in a minute. We're gonna go down the list of a lot of major cities have nicknames, and it's gonna tell you a lot about them. Okay. Everybody wants to get superficial, right? Everybody wants to get to the big city. I've seen it. People here you have low self-esteem. You're not in touch with who you are. You are in touch with who you are, and you know that you've been trying to suppress this alternative lifestyle, your desire for men or women or whatever. You trying to suppress it, and your family can kind of pick it up or whatever. I'm telling you this right now. This message tonight I'm sharing with you is not to condemn anybody. It's to save somebody's life. Somebody on here who's going to watch this now, watch the playback. You know, you have a child, you have a niece, you have a nephew, you have a coworker, whatever. It could be a child or an adult. This person's trying to get in Atlanta or New York. I've been thinking about moving to Miami. I'm telling you, if they're already borderline or suspect, you think that they're trying to live an alternative lifestyle sexually. You think they have an addictive personality. They've been on drugs or they have low self-esteem. I'm not saying that they're not good people who are thriving, who are living lives for God in these big cities, but for the most part, and I know some good people, and I only hang around top-notch people and that kind of stuff. But God has shown me that the people I don't know a lot of people who go to these big cities to thrive and to do great things for God. Most people who go to these big cities are going to hide in the darkness of these big cities. Okay, and the enemy. Let me tell you. Let's go back to this just natural fact right here. Even if I don't get super spiritual or deep on you, in a big city, the strongholds and the forces of evil are going to be greater because you got more people there. Okay, so just by math purposes, in a larger city, you got more people, so you going to have. But guess what? Look at this. God showed me this the other night when we were in Atlanta. And I told my daughter, I said, look at the skyline. Do you see all the beautiful skyscrapers and buildings and the lights and the signs? And later on, God brought me back to that thought. He said, most big cities, well, I don't know of any big city. I don't know of any big city that I've been to or want to go to where part of their beauty, part of what's attractive about them is the skyline at night, how the city looks at night. If it's a bridge there, a major bridge there, if it's over the water, if it, all the skyscrapers and that kind of thing. The enemy operates in darkness. He's all about night. There's so much evil that goes on at night. And so guess what? The darkness is multiplied in the big city. But guess what? Because Satan is an angel of light, 2 Corinthians 11:14, because he's the master of disguise, he wants you to think it's very attractive. And it's attractive. But guess what? It's exotic and elusive and attracts people, and it has people blinded by what's really there. I'm telling you this right now. I'm not saying that they're not powerful ministries and powerful. And guess what? You got to be called there. There are people called there to dispel some of the darkness. But for the most part, ministries that I know of, large ministries, a lot of them are mingling in this darkness. Ministries who have gone there and got corrupted, or tried to be there and got corrupted. People who had strong callings or have strong callings on their lives, gone there and got raped of it by the enemy, got sold their soul to the devil. It's not just the music industry. It's not just entertainment. It happens in the church. It happens, like I said, I'm going to go through this list again. But before that, and I didn't even look up, well, I do know that one nickname for Atlanta is the Hollywood of the South. If you know anything about Hollywood, I've heard several prophets, major prophets, prophets to the nations. These are worldwide prophets that talk about, have teachings, have books I've read and that kind of thing that talks about how media, Satan is the power. He is the prince of the power of the air. He uses airways. He uses social media, news media, movies, music. If you didn't know that, I'm telling you now. Okay. That's one of the major lanes of Satan, is through media. That's how he corrupts people. I'm telling you, there are women and men who get lured into sex trafficking, drugs, all types of things, selling their soul, demon possession, all types of things, because somebody told them, I'm gonna help you get into the film industry. You want to be an actor, you want to be a singer, a rapper, that kind of stuff. I don't know much about. I don't know a lot of details about the Illuminati, but the premises of it are right. That people, Satan uses these major platforms, movies, television, which is the big screen movies, regular television like TV shows and that kind of stuff, music, all this kind of stuff, modeling, all this vain stuff. Because you know Satan is he's pride is one of his biggest characteristics. Vanity. Okay, he's the god of beauty. He wants to make things look, smell. He wants to appeal to your senses and make everything attractive. But under it, because he's an angel of light, he's not light. He's the angel of light, to make it appear like light. He wants it to look like all cookies and cream, all fun and games, until he destroys your life. And that's how he's luring a lot of people to these cities. I tell you, if I actually sat down, I could probably go on for a few days thinking about the people that I know. But just off the top of my head, God said, you can just think without even thinking hard. I can give you 20 people at least who have gone from my city or a nearby town, a smaller town around my city, had to go to Atlanta. I'm telling you, if you're thinking, hey Ladrick, if you know somebody who's thinking about going to Atlanta, or you know they seem suspect, you think you don't know if they're this way, they have this alternative lifestyle, but their parents are thinking, y'all been having a discussion, your coworker, whoever, or they had an issue with drugs, or they have an addictive personality, they have low self-esteem. This broadcast tonight is going to save somebody's life. Satan is using big cities, the big city lights, the skyline. As I said to my daughter, take a picture at the skyline. How beautiful, how attractive, all this, the good food. It's all about catering to your flesh. And like I said, Paris, they say it's a treat for the senses. It is. Paris is so beautiful. I've been a couple times. The food is great. Fashion is great. You see beautiful people. They're of course, everybody's so vain. Everybody's thin. They have on nice clothes. Everything is designer. It's beautiful flowers everywhere. You have the fresh market. You go to the Louvre, the largest museum in the world, where the Mona Lisa is held. I've been there a couple times. You go to Versailles, the palace of King Louis the 14th, 15th, and 16th. This is where Kim and Kanye wanted to get married, but they wouldn't allow them. Of course, at least they know that's sacred, and they know there was some bull crap. But this is one of the nicknames of Paris, or not a nickname, but a slogan of Paris says it's a feast for the senses. It's a treat to the senses. It is. In Paris, everything. We went to the Fragonard in France, which is where they make perfume. The Fragonard. It's called the Fragonard. You get the word fragrance, Fragonard, right? It wasn't in Paris, but it's in south of France. That was another triple one. But you're right. You're eating crepes. Some people say crepes, which is like the tortilla with all types of fruit and stuff in it. It's all escargot. You eat so much great food there. The steak and frites, which is steak and fries. The lean. It's great, but guess what? Most big cities, Atlanta's the same way. I go there. You got shopping. You're gonna have food. You're gonna have entertainment, and all that's great. I'm not saying that's bad, but what I am saying is this. Satan is an angel of light. He wants to disguise what the angel of light, master of disguise. Let me tell you what that role means again. His goal is, one of his main tools, the Satan's main tools is this: to make things appear as what they are not, and to not appear as what they really are. So it's so many people that call themselves going to the city. That's what we call, some people in Albany call Atlanta the city. Or if you live in a small town near New York, the big city, whatever, New Orleans. I'm going to the city. I got to go. You've seen it on movies. My ambitions, I'm going there to be a singer. I'm going there to be an artist. I'm going there to do whatever. I'm going there because Albany's too small for me. When in reality, it's just the devilish part of you just wants to be more devilish. I've seen it. Let me tell you, let's go down this again. This list. These are people, if you know people who have had issues with this before, or you don't know if they do, but you're kind of suspect, or somebody who's been talking to you, or kind of suspect God laid somebody in your spirit. These are strongholds that and playgrounds that Satan has in Atlanta and large cities that lures people from small cities there who are looking for a name, who are looking for to look like they made it. Like I said, they might be in Atlanta, New York, sleeping in a doggone roach motel with no food in the refrigerator. But when you see them out, they're at a fancy restaurant, running a lot of times running up credit cards, running scams on. I've seen this, running scams on people to make money, selling their body, prostituting, male and female, doing all kinds of stuff just to say they live in the city, just to come home to a small town for the holidays and wear. Sometimes it's knockoff, and sometimes it's real Gucci, it's real Prada, it's real Chanel, but you don't know what they had to do to get it. You don't know who they're sleeping with. You don't know who's sponsoring them in that big city. And guess what? Yes, Atlanta, I know for sure, is not just drugs. I'm gonna go down this list in a minute, but Atlanta for sure is a hotbed for down low. It's a lot of men. You see women, you see men well dressed in big fine cars who work for big companies and that kind of stuff, and they're sponsoring other men, young men up there. And guess what? The AIDS epidemic is high there as well, because there's so much foolishness going on. And guess what? It's not just the men are passing it to the women, because there's so much deception going on. People, you're this way in the daytime, you're this way at night, you're this way at your hometown, you're this way when you come to the city. And so if you know somebody who's in one of these categories, you've been suspecting this, guess what? It didn't happen by it. This is why God places teachers in the body, prophets in the body, to show us things that you probably maybe had an inkling, but you didn't know what it was all about. So look at this list. The people go from Albany to Atlanta, or from Dawson, Georgia to Atlanta, Leesburg to Atlanta, or whatever little small city that's close to New York City, and they go to New York, they go to Vegas, whatever. They go so they can live their best life as drug addicts or dope dealers. Okay, they wanna go where the darkness is multiplied and the evil is multiplied. They can connect with more dope addicts. They can do all kind of scandalous stuff on the streets, and in a small town, everybody knows them, and they're gonna give their family a bad name. But I've seen this happen. People who say, you know what, the dope is good to them, and they want to dedicate their life to it. I don't care what I have to do to get it. They'll go to a big city where A, is more opportunity to do that, and B, they don't have to worry about everybody in their town knowing them and knowing their family. So drugs is one of those things, whether you're selling drugs or using drugs. I've seen it all too many times. I can name you real life examples. The enemy lures people to Atlanta. They tell lies. I just want to start over. A lot of times, a big city is not where you need to be. You see in movies when people have problems with addiction or whatever. Like for instance, I think it was Snowfall. That's the series where the girl supposed to be going to Spelman. She was a good girl. She ended up trying crack whatever, got hooked, and they ended up sending her off into a small country town with her aunt or something to get her back. A big city is not where they need to be. So people who are trying to live their best life, selling dope or smoking dope, okay, snorting dope, shooting dope, they want to get to a big city. Religion, okay, when you know you're trying to scam people in the church, you're trying to sleep with women or men in the church, whether if you're a man sleeping with men, you're a man sleeping with women, whatever, you're trying to steal money from people, you're trying to live any kind of lifestyle and still preach and teach. They're trying to get to a big city, right? Promiscuity. Whether you're a man who likes men, you're a man who likes women, a woman who likes men, you want to be whorish, and you got a whorish demon in you. Guess what? A lot of you trying to get from a small city to a big city. You trying to get from Albany to Atlanta. Oh, ain't nothing for me in Albany. I need more opportunities. I think outside the box. In reality, you are a whore, you are a dope pusher, you're a dope head, and you want to get somewhere where you don't think people are going to recognize you, and the enemy is pulling you saying, yes, come, because I want to destroy destroy your life. Like I said, I don't have to. I can think hard and probably come up with 100, but not even thinking hard. Holy Spirit reminded me this week, just off the top of my head, I can give you 20 people who had to get to the big city, but even though it was masqueraded, the angel of lights had them telling people, you coming here for your music industry. You coming here because you want to do hair and makeup. You coming here because you want to be a celebrity stylist. You want to do that, when in reality, now they have AIDS. I'm talking about real life. This is not, I'm not using theory here. I know people for a fact the enemy lured them there to destroy them. Now, some of them died. Some of them have AIDS. Some of them, they're walking zombies. They're walking dead. Their lives are destroyed. Make it here, you can make it anywhere. Do you think Jay-Z, known for being a Satanist, Satan worship, known for mind controlling a lot of people through his music? Same thing with Beyonce, or as prophetess Tiffany McGunness says, Baal, the prophets of Baal, Beyonce, whatever. Do you think it's a coincidence that Jay-Z made the song New York, okay? And I was, or New York State of, Empire State of Mind, New York, okay? And I used to love that song. I used to bump that song. But guess what? In that same song, Jay-Z did some antichrist stuff. Jay-Z compared himself, Jay-Z put himself as an enemy of Jesus Christ. He said if Jesus if Jesus is paying LeBron, I'm paying Dwayne Wade, or whatever it was a rivalry. It's a couple things in that song that shows you he speaks up for who he is, okay? As a worker of Satan, right? It's no coincidence that Jay-Z made that song about New York, a big city. So guess what? When people are trying to live their best satanic, demonic lives, okay, through selling drugs or using drugs, religion, being false religious leaders, being hypocrites, being workers of evil under the church's name, they go to a big city. Vanity. You want to wear everything designer, whether you have to sell your soul to get it, whether you have food in the refrigerator, your kids have some. I've seen people do this. The house, they're living in garbage. They're living with no lights, no utility, this kind of stuff. But when you see them out, it's a facade. That Satan is the angel of light. He's making things appear as what they are and not appear as what they really are. So vanity, people who are trying to be somebody. When you don't know who you are in God, you don't realize that you're made in imago Dei, in the image and likeness of God. You're a royal priesthood. You're a king and a priest. Revelation 5:10. A king meaning you rule over earthly affairs, and then you're a priest, which means you're bad spiritually. You're on top of things spiritually as well. You're a king and a priest. When you don't know who you are, the enemy lures you and say, oh, tell them that Albany is too small. And so many people who live in Atlanta, they're from small towns, they're from Albany or somewhere like that. They get up there and they're, oh, Albany is so country and that kind of stuff. Boy, please, girl, please, Albany, most people, a lot of people in Atlanta are from Albany or a similar small town from somewhere in the world trying to make a name for themselves. A lot of people ask me, you went to Spelman? You graduated from Spelman? Why did you come back to Albany? God showed me, he just recently showed me it's a spiritual thing. I'm a child of God. I'm a servant of God. I'm God's pet, prophetess, evangelist, teacher. I tell people all the time, I love to visit large cities, but I want to live in a small town. And he showed me this years and years ago when I was still saving myself for marriage. Now, if I was whorish and scheming and doing all kind of stuff, I probably wouldn't want to live in a small town where everybody knew me, knew my family, everybody knows everybody. But because I've lived a clean life, I love to travel to large cities, but it's just something about it. Now I know what it is. It's those satanic strongholds that I don't want to live there. But so many people are drawn there under the false pretense that the enemy, Atlanta's so much bigger and better than Albany, when really it's a lot of people from Albany or similar type cities in Atlanta trying to be somebody, and they're selling their souls to the devil to do it. Or they're not trying to be somebody. They know who they are. They know in a small town that they're whorish, that they're a dope fiend, that they want the prestige of being a pastor, a teacher, whatever, but they don't want to live the life. They want to still be whorish and gambling and clubbing, so they go to a big city and do the same thing. So in drugs, in religion, in promiscuity, in vanity, in an alternative lifestyle, okay, this alternative sexual lifestyle, and in striving and scheming. You're trying to be something, you're trying to do something, you're trying to get something. And the enemy was like, all these are characteristics of Satan, if you didn't know. And he disguises it and tells people, oh, you're ambitious, oh, the country town is too small for you, when in reality, he knows it. He's speaking to something on the inside of you. He's speaking to a devilish, whether it's whorish, whether it's an addiction, something on the inside of you, whether it's pride, it's vanity, it's jealousy. You have a low self-esteem, so you always got to feel like you got to have on labels and drive this car, that, and your butts. I know too many people, not just from Atlanta, who went to Atlanta or who live in Atlanta, and they're selling their soul to the devil, or they sold their soul to the devil just to be there because they're trying to prove something to themselves or to other people, or they got this fire on the inside of them, this desire to be devilish, to give into their satanic lusts, and they know that in a small town, people have their eyes on them. I'm not saying that their anointing's any greater, whatever, but I'm just saying they're close to people who are not going to let this happen to them, or not going to take it lying down. And so what they do, the enemy lures them out of their safety net. No, like I said, there are people who are called to large cities to help get rid of some of this darkness, or who can stand in the midst of it and still feed people. But I don't know a lot of them. And guess what? Thank God. I hope to meet a lot of them someday, but right now I don't know a lot of them. I know people who have gone there and been corrupted, or they're corrupt, and that's why they're there, because they want to hide behind the fact that they're in a big city, and the leaders in the church are sleeping with the men and the women. The leaders in the church are ripping off people. And you're right. I'm telling you, I know a lot of people. I've done a lot of training with in secular success training, been around millionaires, multimillionaires, paid a lot of money to be in these trainings, and a lot of it changed my life. I've been around spiritual teachers, as well as like Christian leaders, and then people who were not necessarily principles. Given it shall be given. He gave away the first 1 million copies of one of his albums. Very vocal about being, if you can read between the lines, about being working for Satan. He gave away the first 1 million copies. Guess what? That's a principle of God, a universal principle. You give, is going to be given. He who wins souls is wise. So I've been around a lot of people. I've been to a lot of major cities. But guess what? God showed me recently. He said, Victoria, you oftentimes, when people say, you live in that small city, you're from Albany, I never would have guessed. And you, many times, this is one of my taglines. I say, I love to visit. I love to travel. I love to visit large cities. But I want to live in a small city. Holy Spirit showed me in the last few days. He said, this is why, because you have a pure spirit. You are led of the Spirit of God. You're hungry and thirsty for the Spirit of God. A lot of people, and even people in churches who lead churches, they go to big cities. They may have started out in a small church, in a small town, but guess what? Then they start, we have a satellite church here and here and here. A lot of times they're in big cities because they want to go there and do dirt and be evil and connect to other people in the church. A lot of times they want to connect. Listen, I don't have to name names. You know of popular names who this kind of stuff happened to. In a large city, the darkness is greater because there's more people, for one, and then two, is in a large city, the enemy uses, he's masquerading as the angel of light. Go to 2 Corinthians 11:14. Okay, it says don't be surprised that false apostles and stuff are coming up. That's 11 and 13. 11 and 14 says, and no marvel, it's no surprise, because Satan himself, he is transformed into an angel of light. He makes things seem and look good when they're not. Do you know how? It will probably surprise some of you all how deep and how widespread the down low culture is in Atlanta. That means men who are married to women or date women publicly, but they're sleeping with men privately. That's why it's a lot of people with AIDS and other STDs there as well. And then because of how superficial it is, the enemy just wants you, of course, it's a different demonic level when you get to that alternative lifestyle. But he just wants you to do everything outside of the will of God. So if you're a man sleeping with a lot of women, a woman sleeping with a lot of men or whatever, and then you come across a man who sleeps with a lot of men, guess what? It just dominoes. All this stuff is being spread. All these, and guess what? When you connect with somebody sexually, you then connect with them spiritually. And I've seen cannot produce in their lawns in all areas of life because of the satanic connections that they made in these large cities. Satan wants, listen, let's go down this list. This is what God showed me. Big cities shine at night, okay? The enemy moves at night. Y'all remember that song? I grew up in the 80s, The Freaks Come Out at Night. I don't know who sang it, but it's like, the freaks come out at night. The freaks come out, right? That's true, okay? In Atlanta the other night, I realized how, from the club scenes to people rushing out on the street to folks being just the drug culture, prostituting, to the alternative lifestyle clubs, all this kind of stuff. The freaks do come out at night because God cannot. In Genesis 1, when it says in the beginning, God saw darkness. He was like, this can't be. I got to get, darkness is the enemy. Just like, matter of fact, Jabri, you were one of the people who responded to me when I said that Satan was in Genesis 1, okay? Because he's darkness, okay? And the Bible, a few verses now, Jabri, you answered and said because it talked about darkness, right? But towards the end of the chapter, it talks about God says He created a greater light to rule the day and a lesser light to rule the night. Satan is a lesser light. He's a part of the light. He was created by God. He was in heaven. He was one of God's right-hand man. But of course, because of pride and because of his infatuation with beauty, Satan is the God of beauty. He's all about cosmetics. He's all about vanity. He's all about, that's why, like I said, you want people who want to wear Gucci every day and wear Prada and that kind of stuff, so much so they'll sell their soul to the devil. They sleep with people. They scam people. They let their kids go without food. They let themselves go without food and live in hole-in-the-wall, rat-hole apartments because it's about vanity. Because Satan is, some of his main characteristics, pride and vanity, lying, deception. So he's darkness, right? So a lot of people didn't see that. Let me go to Genesis 1. All right, it says Genesis 1 and 17, and God said Genesis 1 and 16, and God made two great lights. Okay, guess what? Satan is not equal to God. Satan is equal to God's angels. If you know your Bible, God doesn't fight against Satan. He has the angels to do that for him. Satan is way beneath God. Okay, but it says this. And God made two great lights, the greater light, God is greater than Satan, right? Now, he did say it was great. Now, the enemy does have some power. Now, if you're in Christ, though, he doesn't have power over you. But that's why Satan wants to lure you from Albany to Atlanta, to the big city, because Albany is too small for you, because there's no opportunities there, because they're so country there, when in reality it's the same people. But Satan lures you to New York, to Vegas, to Miami, because he knows that he's the lesser light. Okay, it says, listen to this. A lot of people, this is why God needs the fivefold. This is why I'm glad for who I am and who God called me to be. Share this video. It's going to save somebody in your family, your friend, your coworker's life. Okay, some child, some sister, some brother that they know is trying to get to a big city, or they're in a big city, and you've been suspecting, why when I see this person, they're skinny, or why when I see this person, I call, they never answer the phone, or the phone's disconnected, or I think they might be on something, or I think they might be doing this. It's true. This doesn't happen by accident. God loves you so much. Listen, part of my calling, y'all know me, Isaiah 51:16. This is one of the things scriptures God gave me when he confirmed my calling. And he reminded me of this when he just confirmed my calling into another level of ministry. But as a teenager, he gave me this when I was trying to confirm that I was called to be a minister. But then he confirmed it most recently. Again, brought this back up when he confirmed another one of my giftings in the fivefold, right? Isaiah 51:16 says, "For I will have put my words in your mouth and covered you in the shadow of my hand, that you may plant the heavens and lay the foundations of the earth." And look at this last part. "Say unto Zion, thou art my people." God says, Zion, you're my people. I love you. It's plenty of people who are saved, but they still have addictive or whorish or striving or low self-esteem, where they're trying to prove something, pride, character, desires on the inside of them, and Satan uses that to lure them to a big city where they can connect with more people, so the stronghold gets stronger. It's more darkness, so they can hide a little longer. But in reality, guess what I said earlier when I talked about it, when I opened up? In the darkness, a lot of bad stuff happens. People get robbed in the darkness. People have accidents in the darkness. People get make messes in the darkness. People get killed in the darkness. Guess what? When you go into an emergency room, when they're having surgery, the light is going to be very sharp. It's going to be very bright, so they can make sure that they see everything clearly. The enemy wants the opposite of it, and he's going to lure you to the city because the cities shine at night with these beautiful lights. But in reality, all those beautiful lights are there to disguise the fact that it's darkness all around. Come on, Holy Ghost. The only time is actual, real and true natural light is at daytime. At night, all these lights, no matter how beautiful they are, they're false. They're illuminating, Illuminati, right? They're illuminating darkness so that you're not. Thank you, Holy Ghost. You're not aware of the darkness because you're so excited by the lights in the club, the lights on the buildings, the lights of the food restaurant. I love big cities. I love the lights. I love the nightlife. As in, I don't go to clubs, but I might go to a show, like go to a theater or something. I go somewhere nice to eat. Go to New York where you can walk around. Vegas, you can walk around in the city. I love that. But God says, you remember how you always say that you like to visit big cities, but you don't like to stay? You want to stay in a small city? He said it's because of my spirit on the inside of you. But some people, and listen, for the life of me, I'm so glad for revelation because God showed me when you see a ministry of people and listen, there are ministry leaders. I've seen it from my own city. I've seen it in other cities. You suspect like that. They kind of suspect on the alternative lifestyle. They might be kind of promiscuous, whatever. If they're dying to get to a big city, they're dying to go start another church. They're dying to move their church there. I'm not saying that some people aren't called. I'm not saying that they're not good people, but I know a lot more people who are caught up in one of these categories who have a history. And everybody has a history, but I'm just saying that they have a stronghold that they have not totally dealt with promiscuity, with the alternative lifestyle, with vanity and low self-esteem and striving for vainglory, drugs, religion, whatever. And so this is what I was saying, that Satan is, he has some light, but he's the angel light. It's not real light. This is the beauty of the fivefold when God shows something to a teacher, to a prophetess, and says, share this. God talked about Satan and himself. God talked about he himself, God, and Satan, and us as people in Genesis chapter 1, verses 17 through 19. It says 16 through 19. Genesis chapter 1, verse 16 says, and God made two great lights, the greater one to rule the day. God rules the day. He is the light. And the lesser light to rule the night. Satan rules at night. Okay? Listen. I learned that this ain't really common sense. This is street sense. But not all women have street sense. I had to learn this. Let me take a hydration break, y'all. This is why I love being a teacher. Because everybody, even when I taught in high school, but this is why I love being a minister of teaching as well. Everybody don't have street sense. Now, this ain't even common sense. You might have common sense and still miss this. Some women don't know, and I'm going to tell you this right now. Some women, some young girls, and some grown women don't know this, that if a man only wants to see you at night, you're not his woman, okay? There are some women that I knew, and I'm like, but me, I have spiritual sense, I have book sense, I have street sense. God has blessed me with, but even if you don't have book sense and street sense, when you're in the Holy Spirit, he is the Spirit of truth. He'll show you things. But there's some women, some young ladies who don't have any of those senses, and they don't realize, we always go out. I come to his house and he come to my house. We don't really go out, or we go out late at night, or this, and they don't realize that you're either a side piece. You might not even be a side piece. You might just be a booty call. You might just, whatever it is. It says the lesser light rules the night, okay? Satan rules the night. It says, and God said, listen, the greater light rules the day. That's God. God is greater than Satan all day. They're not equal. They're not rivals. Satan is so much lesser than God that if you read, there's several passages in the Bible. I can't quote any right now, but I mean, you can look it up on the internet. They are in there. I can tell you that Satan fights against the angels. In Revelation is one of them. I don't know where specifically in Revelation, but God doesn't fight against the devil. The devil's beneath him. The Bible says, Genesis 1, 16 and 17, God made two lights, a greater light, which is him, lesser light, The greater light rules the day, the lesser light rules the night. Satan rules at night. Anytime, like I said, a lot of young women don't have common sense. And if a man only wants to see you at night, you're not his woman, okay? You're not serious to him. You're trash to him. You're sex to him, all right? Same thing. Listen, but Jude 9, you said it's in Jude 9, but listen. Satan is the master of disguise. He's an angel of light. What does that mean? Deception, disguise, angel of light. Not light, an angel of light, lesser light. He wants things to appear as what they are not, or not appear as what they are. In the music, in the movie industry, in modeling, where they're taking pictures of people, modeling, commercials, movies, they use light to make stuff look better than what it really is. That's Satan. That's why Satan has a big hand in media. That's why a lot of people sell their souls to the devil. I know people. Now you've seen this on TV. You've seen like people like, well, how did this rapper get this kind of stuff? They were in Illuminati. They did this. They sacrificed their child. You've heard these stories, but I know people real life where somebody lured them and say, I'm gonna help you get into the movie industry. I'm gonna help you get into modeling. And guess what? Now they're strung out on dope. Now they have AIDS. Now they're caught up in an alternative lifestyle. Now they don't even know who they are. They're mentally crazy. I'm telling you, this tonight, this was not a condemnation. God says, I want you to say unto Zion, thou art my people. I love you so much. Somebody on here, everybody who watches this, whether you watch the playback or you're on here live, you know somebody, either a niece, nephew, cousin, daughter, son, co-worker's daughter, co-worker themselves, somebody you know, and you're like, that's right. They just had to get to a big city. They just listen. This is what God told me. He told me to look this up. Now, I know I didn't look up Atlanta, but he just reminded me of this. Atlanta is known as the Hollywood of the South. If you know anything about Hollywood, totally satanic controlled. I'm not saying that they're not people. There are some good actors who are God-fearing and that kind of stuff. But guess what? A lot of them in the music industry, in the entertainment industry, have sold their souls to the devil. They've sold out. Okay, so Atlanta is known as the Hollywood of the South. Okay, that's a shout out to the devil. Okay. Paris, I love Paris. I've been to Paris several times. Known as the City of Lights. Not light, not capital, City of Lights. Okay. City of Lights. All right. Paris is the Big Apple. Come on now. The Big Apple. A major minister and entertainment figure showed this to me a couple years ago, and then my barber and I discussed. He came up with this revelation, and I kind of confirmed it because I had heard it a few years back of how Apple products, the phone, the computer, whatever, they have the apple. A lot of people don't never even look at this emblem that it's the apple with the bite taken out of it. Okay, to say that, listen, it's about something that you desire. It's a lust. It's a fleshly lust that gets you hooked up and caught up in it. And they did it intentionally, right? They put the bitten apple on the back of Apple products. And guess what? I'm an Apple person, even though sometimes I hate it because they send out little codes and stuff to disrupt your phone so you can get a new one, even though I binded that. I'm covered in the blood. That doesn't happen to me anymore. But I'm hooked because all my stuff is synced. If I type something on my phone, it syncs up with iPad and with my laptop and that kind of stuff. It's really convenient in a lot of ways, but look at what they're saying about you and how they got you when they put that apple as their emblem, the bitten apple. The apple, which is how Satan got Adam and Eve made in Imago Dei, in the image and likeness of God, the most powerful beings in the universe, because we're made in God's likeness and his image. Aside from him, really, he put us here to rule the earth as he rules heavens, to be his proteges, right? To make earth parallel to heaven. Satan got us to forfeit all that with an apple. They say an apple. Some people's like, was it a pomegranate? Whatever. It's an apple. Guess what? New York his nickname is the Big Apple. Okay? A lot of stuff about modeling there too. Modeling, music, television, that kind of stuff. Guess what? Drug culture, alternative lifestyle culture, all that's out of control there as well. Okay? So, Atlanta is known as the Hollywood of the South, or right? Paris is known as the City of Lights. Of course, heroin addiction is really big in Paris as well. It's called a feast for the senses. Yes, you're gonna eat good in Paris. It's all Chanel is from Chanel, Coco Chanel from Paris, right? You gonna Louis Vuitton, all that kind of stuff in Paris, right? It's anything to overindulge, you can do it in Paris. So New York is called the Big Apple. Also, the city that never sleeps. You're up all night. You're in the nighttime where the lesser light rules the night. Okay. If you don't know anything about studying the Bible, about intercessory prayer, that kind of stuff, a lot of evil happens in the nighttime, at dark time, during the second and third and fourth watches of the night, right? So the city that never sleeps, city of angels. Remember I said Satan has angels. They're holy angels and they're satanic angels. Be careful when you pray that you're specific, okay? Los Angeles is known as the city of angels. Guess what? That's where Hollywood is. Drug culture there is out of control. Listen, all these cities, all the stuff I'm talking about, drug culture, religious hypocrisy, alternative lifestyle in all these large cities. So Los Angeles is known as the city of angels. Vegas is known as Sin City, okay? Just flat out. Tokyo is known as Big Smoke. I've been to all these cities I'm naming. Miami, the Magic City. Magic, you know, is devilish. The Magic City, all right? New Orleans, the Big Easy, okay? The enemy gonna lull you right to sleep there. The Big Easy, where New Orleans is one of those places too, you know, it's heavy in voodoo and witchcraft. Matter of fact, people say when Hurricane Katrina came and the flooding and stuff, they were saying that really God was doing a washing there, just like when they heard those hurricanes and stuff years prior to that in Haiti, where it's a lot of voodoo and witchcraft. The Big Easy, where you just, easy, you cater to your flesh. It's all about food. It's all about, come on, you got Mardi Gras there. You got the sex culture there. Heroin, dope is very, very prevalent in, like I said, all these things. I don't have to give specifics. All these cities, the drug culture is out of control. Promiscuity, alternative lifestyle, voodoo and witchcraft, especially like in New Orleans. But now in Atlanta, other things, you have this crystals and sage burning, all this new age stuff. That's devilish, satanic activity, demonic activity is taking over people. I know people specifically, okay? So Tokyo is known as Big Smoke. I've been to Tokyo. I love it. Very exotic. But most of these cities are exotic and they light up at night, okay? Think about it. Light up at night. And then, like I said, New Orleans is the Big Easy. So once again, listen to the nicknames of these cities and look at how they're giving shots out to Satan, telling you who they are and what they're about. Atlanta is the Hollywood of the South. Paris is the city of lights with an S, not the light, city of lights. New York is the Big Apple, New York City, and also the city that never sleeps. Los Angeles is the city of angels. That's what Los Angeles means, the angels. Vegas is just flat out known as Sin City. Tokyo is known as Big Smoke. Miami is known as the Magic City. Magic is voodoo. Magic is witchcraft. New Orleans, known for voodoo as well, the Big Easy. Cities shine at night. Yes, there are things to do in the daytime, and I love to visit big cities, but God says the reason why you want to live in a small town, and you always tell people that when they ask you, we would think you were from somewhere else. Why would you? And listen, my students, when I taught in the classroom, students would tell, when I taught in a high school classroom, would ask, why did you come back here? You went to school in Atlanta. Why you not? There are some people that are driven to get from Albany to Atlanta. And God showed me why. Because there's lust and satanic hunger and thirst on the inside of them that's dying to get out so they can be who they really want to be, or who the enemy is luring them to be so he can destroy their lives. And I've seen people die. I've seen people get demonically possessed. I've seen people get AIDS. I've seen people destroy their lives, hooked on dope, crazy, multiple personalities. Listen, this is for somebody. I'm telling you, somebody you know is trying to get from Albany to Atlanta. And sometimes they're just saying that they just got to get out of here. They need something new. When in reality, you know that they're already battling addiction, or you were suspecting that that's my nephew or this whoever, whatever. I think he kind of, caught up in some other stuff. God didn't have you watch this by accident. God didn't have me, not by, I thought it was just a shuffling of my plans that I scheduled spring break kind of wrong or whatever. And we had to go, we had a blessed time, but God showed me so much. He gave me this. And then when I came back and was wondering, should I release it or was it time? God confirmed it by my bishop and Prophetess Tiffany Montgomery saying things that said, it's time for you to release this, right? In the light, growth takes place. In the darkness, death. In the light, when in a lab and that kind of stuff, they put stuff under the light. Like I said, you're performing surgery that's going to save somebody's life. The light has to be sharp. It has to be pristine. But guess what? Satan is an angel of light. He's the master of disguise. He wants you to go to a big city where it lights up at night. But in reality, all around these beautiful lights that's on these skyscrapers and these large buildings and signs and stuff like that, all around it is darkness. The only way you can see all these beautiful lights is because it's surrounded by darkness. Hey, Harriet, put your 3 crowns in the comments. It's great to see you. Greet us every single day. Satan is one of his main tools is disguise and deception, massive disguise. Yes, cities light up at night. I love to be in a big city at night, but God showed me, gave me a revelation. It's dark, but it's darkness all around these lights. The only way you can appreciate all these lights in a skyline in a city like Atlanta, New York at night is because the darkness is around them. Satan wants to lure people to a big city where the darkness is greater. There's more people. There's more opportunity for you to be whorish, for you to be to sell dope or smoke dope or shoot dope, for you to live an alternative lifestyle, to be on the down low. And I've seen it too many times. I can name people by name who have either died or they might as well be dead. They're walking zombies. I'm telling you, you got God. Listen, it's 2 Peter 5:8. We got to be vigilant and sober, okay? Listen, you're not hearing this by accident. Share this video with somebody. Listen, it's going to save people's lives. It's going to cause people to be delivered. I'm telling you how to pray. Listen, I went to Atlanta 4 years, got my degree in 4 years. I saw people there in Atlanta in school 7, 8 years, and they're not getting a master's degree. They're still working on their bachelor's degree, but they were also strung out, snorting cocaine, smoking weed, parents rich, doing all this kind of stuff, whatever. And they were there living the life they wanted to live, away from their folks or whatever. A lot of times, many times parents know it. If you don't know it, that's what I'm on here for. Somebody, listen, 1 Peter 5:8 says, be sober and self-control. Sober means nothing else is in control of you. Sober is the opposite of drunk or intoxicated. Be sober, be vigilant. You need to watch out for this stuff. Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. The enemy wants to get you, somebody, your cousin, your niece, your nephew, your son, your daughter. I'm taking a hydration break. To a big city through using these superficial satanic strongholds so he can destroy their lives. My God, Holy Ghost, come on. What are the major things that the city of Atlanta is known for? Music, movies, the down low culture. Listen, I love to visit big cities, but I don't want to live there. I've been to Sydney, Australia, Tokyo, Japan, Kyoto, Japan, Las Vegas, Minneapolis, Miami, Paris, Milan, Italy, New York City, of course, Vegas, New Orleans. But guess what? These cities shine at night, and it's a lot. Guess what? Even though it's a lot of exciting things, you can take your kids to see stuff. You can take your family. You can enjoy and come back home. I went to Atlanta, got my degree, and came back. And people are like, why would you come back here? Some people can't wait to get there. Some people can't wait to get to Atlanta. And it's because of what's on the inside of them that wants to get out. My God, I'm telling y'all, listen, be sober, be vigilant. Listen at what I'm saying. I'm not saying that everybody there is devilish. Like I said, I don't know a lot of good things that the city of Atlanta is known for. New York, yes, you can say, well, the movie industry in New York and LA and Atlanta. But guess what? If you don't know, I want you to do a study on how deep demonic and satanic influence is in media. That's one of his tools. He's the prince of the power of the air. That's in the Bible. He is the God of beauty. It's all about vanity. It's modeling. That's an industry he uses. Music, television, it's real, guys. And a lot of people who have these ambitious, and you might not even have an ambition to be a part of one of those industries. Like I said earlier, you want to be somebody though. You've seen on TV, your friends told you, oh, go to Atlanta, that's the big city. When in reality, it's a bigger version of Albany. It's a bigger version of Sylvester, Georgia. Because all these people from all over the world who are trying to be somebody come here. And guess what? You have, thank you, Holy Ghost, you have the enemy who's smart, who knows that you're there trying to be somewhere. So guess what? So you have, Atlanta is not better than Albany. Just like whatever little small city, New York, that's near New York City, New York is not better than them. What it is it's actually worse, because everybody from an Albany or a town like Albany who wants to be somebody or wants to be their satanic self, or they want to be somebody greater than who they want to appear to be greater than what they are. So you have in the city is full of those type of people. And guess what? Trying to be somebody, want to be their devilish self and not be ashamed of it. So they go to a big city where they think they can hide. And guess who else is filling the city? Who else is left? Okay? People Satan are using that they know that, oh, he's here, she's here looking to be somebody. So let me tell them I'm going to make them a model. Let me tell them, this is a man now. Let me tell this young man, he can, I want to sleep with him, even though I'm married to a woman, whatever. I'm going to sleep with him and pay for his college tuition, or pay for him to go to school, or pay for him to wear Gucci and drive a little BMW. I saw it. I went to Spelman, young lady. This is one of my junior year roommates. She had been in college for years. Her friends never they wore expensive stuff. They drove expensive cars, snorted cocaine, smoked weed like crazy. Parents rich, whatever. But the enemy, there's no telling where they are now. Now, some of them could have just, it could have been fun and games. They got themselves together. But they were already on the wrong path. They already were having car accidents and lying and doing all kind of stuff. Doing all this rich, spoiled kid stuff to make sure that stuff didn't catch up with them. Stuff that you see on TV, I saw it in real life. But one girl I know specifically, and they would talk about it and joke about it. This was my roommate's friend. She drove a BMW and had all this design stuff, whatever, but she was being financed by a married man there, right? But guess what? There are married men who finance men. There are married men. It's superficially. It's so sad. I see something. I'm going to the big city. I'm going to Atlanta. I live in Atlanta, and they think it's so big. They're strippers. They're selling dope or scamming people in some kind of way. They're sleeping with people for money. They're doing all kinds of stuff just so they can come to a small town and think and make you think that they're better than you. When in reality, they don't even think they're better than you, and they use drugs and sex and Gucci to medicate the pain because they don't really want to face who they really are. But what I was getting at is this. I said it before. I'm gonna break it down again. They try to make you think that Atlanta is so much better than Albany or whatever city, Rochester, whatever little city that's next to New York City is so much worse. That New York City is so much bigger and better. It's all these nice restaurants and everybody dresses nice and there's celebrities everywhere. But really, Atlanta is really worse than Albany because you have people from all over the nation who are trying to be somebody who go to Atlanta, to New York, to big cities, and the enemy lures them there. That you have is half of those type of people, or 3/4 of that kind of people. Guess who's the last quarter is? It's the workers of the enemy who say, listen, I know they have low self-esteem, or they inherited this trait from this addictive gene from their family, or this sex demon or whatever. And so I know that's why they want to get to Atlanta. They're from a small town. They want to get to Atlanta where they can really connect with other people. They want to get to Atlanta where they can hide, when it's greater darkness. And so in Atlanta, in Miami, in big cities, you have 3/4 of people that came from small cities trying to be somewhere. And then the last quarter of people are the demonic workers of Satan who says, yes, come on, I'm going to make you a model. When in reality, they want to get you strung out on coke and prostitute you. Or they want to, there's a 6 or 7 figure earning businessman who's married with kids, but he's going to pay another man, a young man who came here to go to college because his small city wasn't big enough for him. And then, of course, now he ends up with AIDS, or he ends up because this man is sleeping with all types of other men. So you have a bunch of people who are trying to be somebody, and then the enemy who's preying on that, saying, yeah, come on, let me make you somebody. And so it's the illusion. Man, God made it so clear to me. We didn't end up, we had planned to go to Florida for a week. But like I said, I mixed up and asked my husband to take off on the wrong week, which was my daughter's, my son's spring break, when it should have been my daughter's spring break, because my son can come to school. He's not in official school yet. But either way, God showed me it wasn't an accident. It was strategic, so that he gave me this word. He showed me some things while I was there in Atlanta, a city that I love to visit. I went to school in Atlanta. I have friends and family in Atlanta. I love the farmers market in Atlanta. Anytime I tell people about the International Farmers Market, your DeKalb Farmers Market is in Decatur, they fall in love with it. It's an experience. Go there. You're going to have a time of your life. Fresh food, organic food, a lot of different stuff from all over the world. You see, it's beautiful. Okay, it's great. I love a lot of things about Atlanta, but like I said before, I'll say it again. I tell people all the time, I love to visit big cities, but I want to live in a small city. It's because God showed me. It's because his spirit on the inside of me. A lot of people who are drawn, I'm not saying all, but a lot of people who are drawn to big cities is because the devil is luring them there. It's something on the inside of them that the devil is connecting with. Or even whether they've admitted it or not, whether the person like, oh, I need to explore my sexuality, or I'm just tired of this right here. And the enemy is like, yeah, come on, because he's connected with something in you. He knows there's something there that he has a place in you. Okay, so I'm telling you, share this video. Okay, once again, people who want to live their best lives as drug addicts or drug dealers. They want to go from a small city to a big city. Religion, you want to be a pastor or a minister, whatever, and still live any kind of lifestyle. They want to go from a small city to a big city. They want to go from Albany to Atlanta. Promiscuity, you want to be whorish, whether you're a man, woman, married, single, whatever. I've seen it. For all these categories, I can name several people just by not even thinking about it. Not to mention, God said, if you sit down and actually think about it, these are people God reminded me of as I was getting this together. Promiscuity, people who want to be just real whorish, they want to get to a big city. Okay, not to say that they don't do it in a small city, but you can connect with more people there. The darkness is greater. The strongholds are stronger there because there's more people and it's more darkness there. Okay, but it's decorated with lights. Okay, what's one thing I love about big cities? At night it lights up, but God says there's a revelation to you. Okay. Vanity, people who want to be vain, who want to drive a certain car. And I like nice things, and I think as people of God, we should have the best. But people who want to Gucci this price, label whores, who want to rub it in your face, a lot of times they're in a big city living in a cardboard box, but they come around to you in a small town during the holidays and try to act like they got it all together, and and you don't know what they did to get it. Okay, what they sold, their body, scheming somebody, scamming somebody. They're sleeping on the floor in an apartment so they can drive a BMW and wear Gucci. Okay, so vanity, living in an alternative lifestyle. A lot of people, especially in Atlanta, I know for sure, but I'm sure in other big cities, the down low culture is up here. Men who are married to women but sleep with men. That down low culture is out of control. You have a lot of times you see people who you went to college with or you went to high school with. They went away to college, came back, whatever. Like, what you do? Their job doesn't say that they should be wearing this or driving this, but sometimes they're kept by men who are married to women, okay? Whatever, all right? This ain't stuff I'm making up, okay? People who want to strive and scheme, who want to come up with all these schemes and scams and stuff like that. They want to get to a big city where they can connect with other scammers. Listen, tonight is about being vigilant and sober. 1 Peter 5:8. 2 Corinthians 11:14. Don't be surprised. It says, and no marvel. Satan himself, he's the angel of light. He wants to make things appear a certain way when they're really not, or make things not appear as what they really are. I'm telling you, reach out to somebody. This was confirmation for some people. It could be somebody in your own family, co-worker, whoever. Somebody's trying to get to a big city, or they're in a big city and you know something's been wrong, something's been off. The enemy wants to destroy them. I've seen people destroyed totally, got AIDS and died, okay? Really, got AIDS and still living, but they're walking death. Walking around frail, addicted to drugs, demonically possessed. This is real stuff that I'm not giving theoretical examples. I'm giving you stuff I know for sure. And God gave me this word and said, in these large cities, that's what's going on. I'm not saying you can't go to a large city and do well If God called you there, he's anointed you, and you know that you don't have any of these strongholds already on the inside of you that the enemy can connect to. Okay? I went and got what I came there to get, and I came out. I went to college for 4 years, which you're supposed to get a 4-year degree in 4 years. Many other people I know didn't because they got caught up. They were lured there. So many people, I'm telling you, they're trying to get back to Atlanta, to a big city, because they want to go back into their drug addiction. They want to go back into what God has called them out of. Okay? God loves y'all so much. I love y'all. God loves you and the people you're connected to, the people you lead and feed so much that he would drop this word. He confirmed it twice and said, or several times, confirmed it with other people in the body of Christ who are leaders, who are teachers, and said it's time to release this word. I really don't have anything else to say. I'm not going to, that's it. This is a powerful prophetic word. This is a word, and I declare that light is greater than darkness. And when the light is shed on some things, light will prevail. The greater light, which is God, Jesus Christ. I'm the way, the truth, the life. The light of the world. That's who we are. Right? Man. I had no intention of teaching anything like this, but God overloaded me with this information. Last week I was in Atlanta. Like I said, about 10% of this, maybe he started showing me some years ago. It was probably about 5. It was a small portion of this. He was like, a lot of people claim they're going to Atlanta. They're just superficial. They're trying to be somebody. But it wasn't nearly as deep. The 95% of this stuff he gave me like in the last week or so. But it's for somebody. I love y'all so much. God loves you more, though. You're created in his image and his likeness. You're supposed to rule. But the enemy wants to destroy. Okay? Not just steal and kill. If you kill somebody, guess what? We believe in resurrection. We're the resurrection. We believe in resurrection. If you kill somebody, they can come back to life. But if you're destroyed, I blow you to pieces, and part of you is over here, and part of you is right there, and some part of you is in another. I blew you to smithereens. That's destroyed. He's out to destroy people's lives, and I've seen it happen by him luring them to these big cities because they're trying to be something. They want to be something. They want to be either who the enemy wants them to be, or they're just trying to be somebody greater, greater. They're trying to prove something. And the enemy says, come on to the city. Come on to the big city. And he makes a big fool out of them, and he wants to destroy their lives. And I don't want to see him destroy any more lives like I've seen it happen again and again and again. From drug addictions to people, AIDS, killed, murdered, suicide, all of it. All right? I love y'all so much. Share this video with somebody. I'll see y'all soon.